Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we're talking about the Miami Dolphins and some recent additions and how it all kind of fits together. Josh Rosen, former top 10 pick from the Arizona Cardinals a year ago, coming to face off with two other top 10 picks from a year ago, Sam Darnold and Josh Allen. Okay, so we've got Ryan Fitzpatrick or the new kid, Josh Rosen. Honestly, I put him in a camp battle and a quarterback competition until about week at least two. At least the first two games, have both of them in a quarterback competition. If Josh Rosen looks like the obvious guy, then go with him. If not, if he does not beat out Ryan Fitzpatrick right out of the gate convincingly, I go with the experience in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Last year, he showed on Tampa Bay he can still play. And, by week 5, you might not need him to start anymore. With Josh Rosen getting backup repetitions, his execution level could come up. By watching an experienced quarterback who can play. He is a very good backup quarterback that can give you 5 or 6 games in Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I do not rush Josh Rosen out onto the field if I'm the Miami Dolphins. I just don't do that. Not unless he beats him convincingly in a quarterback competition in camp. And then you have this year's first-round draft pick, Christian Wilkins, rookie out of Clemson. Went back for his senior year to win another national title and accomplished it. Good player. Interior defensive lineman, definition of toughness, speed, athleticism, moves up and down the line of scrimmage with ease. Good player. Very good player. In the third round, Michael Dieter, offensive guard, Wisconsin. One of the best offensive lines in the NCAA last year in Wisconsin. Michael Dieter may have been the best offensive lineman of the group. Now he's on Miami. And a wild card of the group, maybe a diamond in the rough, a late gem, Myles Gaskin, running back, Washington. Very fast, elusive, good vision, runs bigger than his size. Not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, turn some heads in camp. He's going to be an interesting guy in the preseason games to watch, to see what he does. If this kid stays healthy throughout training camp, he will be interesting. As, maybe a third-round running back to add some depth behind Kenyon Drake and Kalen Ballage. Myles Gaskin as a third down back could definitely be very interesting. Miami added Mark Walton, highly talented second-year running back coming from Miami. Cincinnati let him go. What does he do in camp? How is he going to play? You've added Bryce Butler, a 6'3", 220-pounder with 7 years of experience. Before he played with Arizona, he played with the Dallas Cowboys. How does he do? I think he's consistent. He's not the best wide receiver in the league, but he can add production and consistent production, and he's good in the red zone as well. This Miami team may be better than advertised. There are a lot of skeptics out there that say Miami is the worst team in football, and a lot of people are predicting the Miami Dolphins to have the number 1 overall draft pick next year. I would say pump the brakes on that assumption. Devontae Parker has gotten better every year. Has he lived up to the first round expectations? No. But still has been productive. Yes, he's dropped some balls, but he's still a young, ascending wide receiver. Kenny Stills has been solid year in, year out. When healthy, Albert Wilson is explosive, a dynamic receiver who makes a lot of big plays. Then they added a tight end, a good blocker, good receiver. He's not dynamic in speed. He's not a Gronk but Dwayne Allen formerly played for both New England and Indianapolis. Did very well in Indianapolis and then played behind Gronk. He's had in Indianapolis, he had some injuries. Fell out of favor, went to New England, backed up Gronk for a few years, and now he's with Miami with a chance to reclaim a starting role. Now he is 29 years old, so he is getting up there in age as far as a football player age goes, but still an interesting name to see how he plays this year. Miami, you've improved your offensive line. You've improved your running backs. You have 2 developing running backs. You have depth at quarterback. You have depth at wide receiver. You've added some consistency to both the wide receiver position and tight end. It's going to be interesting. You've got some interesting names at running back. You've got some playmakers on this team. You've exercised a 5th-year option for Laramie Tunstall, a developing offensive lineman who gets better every year. Very interesting. He added some defensive players to go along with Chris Harris. Very interesting team. I think Miami Dolphins could be better than advertised. I'll just say that. Eric Rowe, you've got a defensive-minded head coach, so the defense is going to play a little bit better. We'll see what the offensive coordinator is able to do with the offense. But the defense has a lot of young, developing. Raekwon McMillan, good linebacker. Not great, but good. Young, developing middle linebacker. Jerome Baker, very fast. Not extremely huge, but fast. Makes a lot of plays. Kirk Alonso. I think he's getting towards the end of his career, but he has them games where he is very good if healthy. The if healthy is the biggest thing with him. And Charles Harris, first-round draft pick from a few years ago. And then you have Christian Wilkins, the first-round draft pick this year. I mean, there is some talent here. You know, Minka Fitzpatrick at safety. He can also play corner. Rashad Jones. I mean, you're talking Pro Bowlers in the defensive secondary to go along with some improvements into the front 7. You now have depth at quarterback. You've added some depth or at least competition to running back. You brought in a couple of veterans at your wide receiver and tight end position. It could be interesting. We'll see if this team makes any camp moves. I mean, if the Dolphins are able to pick up another good player, either offensively or defensively, to add some additional consistency, you could see Miami make a push for the AFC East. There is no reason why the Miami Dolphins couldn't make a push. Now, if they do not win early, I think things could go badly. They could lose the team, and they might not be able to regain that early season focus that teams have when hopes are high. If they lose that hope of being able to have a winning season, it may be difficult to regain. But the offensive line should be better with some young players. A lot of times young players need to be played in a rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how they rotate the young offensive linemen into the game and how much playing time they get. But I definitely see a jump in talent, more so than last year. Interesting name, Kenneth Farrow. Played for the NFL's developmental league this past spring. Very hard running back. He's not fast. He's not, he does have some elusiveness. He has some quickness. He's not a Kenyon Drake or a Kalen Balaj, but he is a tough, instinctive runner. Be interesting to see what he does in camp and how many running backs they keep. I mean, Mark Walton is way more talented. There's no question there. But Mark Walton comes with some character concerns as well as injury concerns. If Mark Walton is healthy and he keeps his head on straight, he's probably the best running back on this team by far. But we will see. I mean, could you imagine Mark Walton blow up off the map, start running like the running back that he is, utilizing all of his talent? Josh Rosen lives up to the top 10 expectations of a year ago, and these wide receivers continue to develop and play a little bit more consistently than they have in years past, and the offensive line blocks a little better because they've added talent there too. They've added talent incrementally throughout the offense and the defense, both up front and in the skill positions. If I'm Miami, I'm not worried, because I know with a defensive-minded head coach, Miami's going to run the football without question. And they're going to look for short outlet passes. They're going to try to make whoever's playing quarterback, they're going to try to make it as easy for the quarterback as possible. Both Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen have pretty good feet. I'm not saying, they're not Michael Vick, but, they can slide around in the pocket and still make plays on the run, extend plays. I think this team is much better than advertised. Anybody that takes Miami for granted this year will lose. Miami is going to be a very competitive team this year. At least on paper, how it looks. I see them as better than a year ago. They may have a small drop-off in pass rush. You lost Cameron Wake. That's all I really see. After that, you're better on the interior of your defensive line, which will help your fast, active, athletic linebackers run and hit, which is always a plus. Plus, when Christian Wilkins, he's not going to allow all them offensive linemen to go to that second level. So they won't have to be worried as much. So when they read run or pass, it'll be a little easier for them to drop back into pass coverage when it's time. It'll be an easier read for them. Miami, a lot of other people are doubting you. I think that nobody should take you for granted. All right. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to join us next week as we bring you any updated information and more in-depth looks at the Miami Dolphins. Have a great day, everyone.